And testing, is this thing on? Welcome to a gamer's guide of productivity. It's your host, Nico Penguin. And today we're literally going to be diving into the intersection of gaming and education with an innovative guest, Patrick Boylan, who is the co founder of MuseFlow, which is an amazing music education app that gamifies the process of learning piano. And it doesn't just teach music, it literally immerses learning into a flow state, which combines the joy of gaming with the discipline of music practice. So, our guest today is the professional pianist in Los Angeles, California, who literally designed MuseFlow based off of his own journey of teaching himself the piano 2 decades ago. Guys, today we're going to explore how MuseFlow transforms music education, the power of gamification, and the parallels between gaming and mastering an instrument. So, if you've ever been interested in learning the piano and learning music, then get ready for an inspiring conversation that bridges gaming, creativity, and education. So, thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us today.
Dude, thank you for having me. And what an intro. That's good. Let's go. That's great.
I definitely got to know, like, what inspired you to create MuseFlow, and how did your own experience of playing the piano play into literally creating this?
Well, yeah, let me tell you, it's a long story, but I'll try to condense it as much as possible. Well, I took 8 years of like classic piano lessons, right? Where I don't know if you
Okay.
what's your story about any sort of instrument? Do you know any instruments?
I've played previously the recorder, the
Yeah, great.
flute, the vocals, and the bass.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, great. I mean, so you know the traditional lessons. I don't know if you ever took private lessons, but it's the classic like here's a new
Hmm.
note, here's a new rhythm, call that a
Yeah.
skill, right? A new
Okay.
skill. Go home and your teacher assigns you a piece of like a song, right?
Okay.
Assigns you a song, go home and practice that to boredom. And then come back into, you already can tell I have an opinion about this, right? You then
Yeah.
come on back into the lesson the next week, and then I'll check it off as perfect or wrong. And either you're going to go home and practice that song again,
Hmm.
or you're going to learn a new song that with a new skill inside of that. Now, I hated that. My ADD brain didn't work with that. And it didn't feel like I was like compounding when it came to my skill level, right? I wasn't
Mm.
getting better. I was just getting better at practicing. That's all it
Okay.
was. And so 8 years down the road, my teacher retired. No fault of my own. He just retired. I was a terrible student, though. My parents had to ground me because I didn't practice. So my teacher retired, and then I ended up taking a break from piano for a while. I went back to my parents' sheet music. They had a bunch of musical theater. I
Okay.
went back to it and I found like little phrases that I really loved, little motifs or rhythmic patterns or whatnot, right? And then I just kind of put that in my mind. I just started playing that. I started playing that rhythm and that motif in different contexts, right? I flipped it, I inverted it, I put it in the left hand, put it in the right hand. I changed the key signature, I changed the time signature, right? I just completely fleshed that out so that it became very much a part of me. I learned it to my core, right? Then I went to another phrase and another phrase, another phrase. I just kept doing that, improvising around these phrases. Cut to college, find out that I'm the only acting major at my university that could play the piano. And so
Wow.
all of my cohort was just throwing music in front of me in the recital halls, seeing if I could play it for them because they know all these songs. And I could. I realized at that time that I was taking these little phrases, those
Hmm.
were the core building blocks of what made up musical theater, the genre. And you see those core building blocks, those same phrases, those same motifs pop up in other genres too. So that by the time that I saw that phrase, that little motif in another song, I could replicate it. I could do it. I
Mm.
could do that. So I learned in a whole different way, basically. And now I'm a professional pianist here in Los Angeles. I played a piano bar in Hollywood, and I've got a couple other gigs around town too. And so, like, I'm like, maybe there's a way to teach that way, where we take these bite-sized skills and we can teach the basics of it. So this was like maybe 3 years ago I thought of this idea. I was like, "What if there's a way to teach people the basics in this sort of kinesthetic approach to music education, learning the core skills first and then
Hmm.
applying it to actual songs?" So I was like, cool, what if there's a way to do that? What if sight reading was the engine? Sight reading, the act of reading music at first sight. We teach you one note, we teach you 3 rhythms, and you just go, right? You just play that, and we gamify it a little bit. You got to get 4 phrases in a row at 95%
Right.
accuracy or higher at the goal tempo, the goal pace of it. And you just play the infinitely generated music that's in front of you. Just play it. It never repeats. It always just goes and continues until you get it correct. And then there you go. You've essentially mastered that new skill. Let's add another note. Let's add another rhythm. Let's keep building you that way so it's compounding on itself. And you're immersed in this musicality that is full and rich, and you're playing this infinitely generated music. I was like, that's a winning idea. Brought it over to my music education teacher friend, Stephen Gizzy, and he's like, no way. I've had the exact same idea.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
goodness.
are you serious? And so we just spitballing this idea back and forth, and we like really nail down the like main core features of the app, write it all down in a Bible that's like 100 pages long. Like our MuseFlow Bible is like huge. We got so many features that we want to make. And then we just start being like, okay, maybe we want to find some like technical co-founders to like, you know, make this thing. And then these guys just like popped up in our lives. When we put that out there, these guys just like, we ended up finding each other. They ended up finding us. It was like super wild the way that like, you know, we put that intention out there, and then it just like happened. One guy even pitched himself to us, and he's like, he literally, we were like talking with this guy. His name is Steven Staley. He's one of our co-founders, and we were on a hike in Malibu, and me, Stephen Gizzy, and then Staley, we were on a hike together. And we were like, we just started talking about MuseFlow, and the guy got obsessed. He was like so interested in all the databases that would be needed to like make this thing possible. And so then like a week later, he's like, hey, I want to have a meeting. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, get online. Let's like talk. I want to talk. And he like pulls up a whole PowerPoint presentation of like why Steven Staley should work at MuseFlow. And he ended up like pitching himself to us. And
wow,
it was amazing. And then there's another guy I literally met at one of my gigs. He was just playing some like classical music at one of the pianos that I was supposed to be playing on a Sunday afternoon. And it turns out the guy's a software engineer.
Wow.
And I buy him dinner, and I butter him up, and I show him the pitch deck, and he's like, yeah, man, that's a cool idea. He's a classically trained pianist, and he's a software engineer. I'm like, you can't make that up. You know, that's like, you put that in a movie, people are going to be like, that's fake, you know? But no, that was real. And then another co-founder is a bassist, electric bassist from Stephen Gizzy's hometown. And so, you know, it was like one of these things that just like all came together. And so we started making this a year ago, and then we put it out there, and people are loving it. We're getting some really killer feedback. We got about 40 people that are using this thing right now. And so we just want more eyes on it, you know?
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. Like literally storybook beginnings and how it came about. Like you can't make this up kind of concept. But I did want to dive into some of the more technical aspects. So you mentioned on the website that there is the concept of the flow state, and that MuseFlow takes a better approach, or is it like a scientific, mathematical, or is it a pattern recognition? Like what enables MuseFlow to essentially tap into the flow state and make learning easier and fun for those that want to integrate into it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you literally said it though. It's pattern recognition. It's the ability for you to just immerse yourself in this, because the idea of flow state is that we need a perfect challenge that challenges you just enough so that you're not anxious, you're not gonna be freaked out about how complicated the music is, but you're also not going to be too bored. It's not going to not challenge you enough to where humans always want to challenge. That's just something we need, you know. We always want to aspire to something. We want to work towards something. And so what the concept of flow state is, that Goldilocks challenge, right? Where the challenge that you're trying to tackle matches your skill level, and it's just a little bit outside of your skill level. So you're being challenged just enough so that it's a perfect thing for you to be doing that's keeping you engaged, but not getting you anxious or bored, right? That's number one that you really, really need to get into flow state. Number two is a clear goal. You need to see your progress on screen. That's the real-time feedback. And when you put all of those things involved, when you put those things together, those three concepts together, you've got flow state. It's the idea of like, have you ever done a task where you're like fully immersed in it and you lose track of time? You're like in that groove.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's flow state. And so what we're trying to do is teach you how to play an instrument in flow state, right? We give you music you've never seen before that never repeats. That is right at the level where you're at. Okay. You can put yourself wherever you want to in the curriculum. You can place yourself wherever you want to. Right. And so you find that level where the challenge meets your skill level and you just go, right? You can change the tempo so that it's slower or faster and keeps you engaged in the perfect amount. Later down the road, we're going to be automating all of this so that very little touch is going to be happening on your iPad or your phone or your computer. Right now, it's just computer and a MIDI keyboard. But later down the road, we're going to automate all of this so that it's just constantly working with your flow and like making sure it's personalized to you. And so we're going to automate the tempo and make sure that if you're, messing up so much, we're going to slow it down. Or if you're going really, really well, we're going to increase the complexity of the music. We're just going to generate all of that automatically, right? And that's where Gizzy kind of came into the mind of like, AI is going to be really, really great for this because then we can like generate the music using an AI and we can personalize the music so it's perfectly right at your skill level, right? And right now we've written every piece of music that's in MuseFlow right now, but we're training an algorithm right now to write the music for us for our Unit 2 that's coming out next year. So the idea of flow state is very integral to music education, though it's never been a part of it. We've never used that concept in music education before. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's never really there's an 85% drop off after high school. And so you look at that number and you're like, there's something wrong with the methodology here. We're not engaging kids in the right way. So let's make it a game and let's get people into flow state so they're learning the technical pieces of playing music in a game and then go apply that to music that gets unlocked.
And for you, what would you say were the specific game design elements that were most important when you were having those conversations and creating MuseFlow?
We looked at Guitar Hero as a perfect example of this, right? You got the streaking, right? Where you're like, you see your accuracy, you're at 95% accuracy, you're going really hard. And then what we call a chevron, which is just a green dot right here, a green kind of arrow that's right at the top right of the screen, it starts to flash. And then you get a phrase, an entire phrase of music correct that's on screen. You get a phrase at 95% accuracy, boom. That chevron stays green and another one right next to it starts to go. So accuracy, the streaking mentality, and then of course tempo, pacing, all that stuff. That's what we've got so far. That's the kind of game. And then of course the like choose your own adventure. We really do. We have a curriculum for you. We have the roadmap, shall we say. We have that for you. You can follow that verbatim, or you can really kind of go wherever you want to. It's kind of an open world concept. We've thought about a lot of different maps. How like Zelda, you like see the outside edges. They're like, and then you like it opens up and like there's a little bit of like wispy clouds over it until you've like ventured into it. We've thought about it that way too. Like we could definitely organize our map that way. But right now it's just a roadmap. I guess I would love to show you guys whenever you're ready.
Hey, that sounds phenomenal. I was just about to say, like, you're describing it so
I'm
well.
describing it. Why don't I just show you?
Yeah, just show us. Don't tell us. Just show us and share your screen. Let's see what it is.
All right, cool. 1 second. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yes, indeed.
All right, can you hear this?
Yes.
Can you hear that? Yeah. Amazing. Okay, cool. Right. So this is our roadmap, right? We've got level 0, which is just truly the basics, all the way to level 26. That's the current roadmap that we've got right now. That's our Unit 1. Unit 2 is coming next year. And that goes all the way, if you want to look at the preview phrase down here, that goes all the way from one note and three rhythms. We've got a whole note, we've got a quarter note, and we've got a half note. That's it. That's where we start you from, both these hands, okay? That's it. Then we add in one more note. I don't know if you can see that. That's a D right there. We got C and D. And then we add in one more note. And then we add in another note, another note. We change the time signature from 4/4, which is 4 beats per measure, to now 3 beats per measure. And then we add another note. We add another note. We add a rhythm here too. We got a dotted quarter note, dotted half note right here. That's a whole new rhythm, right? And then we add in harmony, right? Add in harmony here. Keep it a little simple. We're going to do half notes and whole notes right here. It's going to be a little slower. Add in some quarter notes. Add in some dotted half notes. Change up the time signature a little bit. Let's add another note. Another note. Building harmony in 4/4. Let's getting a little complicated here, right? Getting a little complicated. Getting a little bit more complicated because now we're in 3/4. Now there's only 3 beats per measure, and now there's only 2 beats per measure. Getting pretty complicated. Let's add in rests now, okay? Where silence is very much a part of this game here. Music is composed of notes, which are pitches, and then, of course, silence, where you're not playing anything. And it's the combination of that. It's the combination of pitches, duration of that note, and silence between the notes. That's what music is made out of. Then we add another note, and now we're adding in a whole new situation here. We're adding in moving side to side on the keyboard. We've got a ton of notes already. Got all of those up to level 17. Now we're adding in one more note. That's the 11th note, okay? Down here on the bottom, or sorry, up here on the right. One more note, and then we're adding in another note, and we're moving side to side even more, side to side even more, even more, even more, even more. And now this last one, got a full 2 octaves of the keyboard. Got a full 14 notes, 4 rhythms, 3 time signatures.
Wow.
Both hands. That's the grand finale right there, right? And so let me show you a little bit of, I don't know, let's try level 15. It's a little easier because I don't want to be messing up so much. Like the reason why I made this was because I'm pretty bad at sight. I like looking at this music. I'm like, oh, I could easily play that. But like, if you're playing this at first sight, it's actually really difficult to do. I'm really good at finding patterns in music and replicating those. I'm really good at finding musical theater phrases and motifs. Like I know that genre like the back of my hand, but just when it comes to simply reading music at first sight, like I'm not that good at it. So I literally made, at least in my mind, I'm like, I made MuseFlow because I want to get better at it. And I'm still working at one personally, and I'm a professional pianist. So if that says anything about how complex you can get. Let's play this, shall we?
Yeah.
I'm going to increase the tempo a little bit because it's kind of boring.
That's complicated to me.
I know. We're going to actually increase it a little bit more. Hold on. See the chevron on the top right?
Yeah.
Boom. Boom. Off. Ah. Off. Shoot.
Wow.
And there we go.
Wow. That was good.
So that's how we do it. And then we slowly but surely build a little bit more and a little bit more. Let's add in some harmony here. I'm going to lower the tempo a little bit here. I'm going to bring it down
Oh, it
to
looks complicated.
90. This looks pretty complicated, right? We're going to bring it down a little bit here. Got to be at 72 BPM beats per minute past the level. You mess up, just take a breath. And there we go.
What? That was, bruh. That is pretty cool.
So that's the game. That's the game. You know, we got these tiers, right? Tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3.
Yeah.
Most levels are made up of tiers. That last tier is that boss battle. You know, we start you off easy. We start you off with just single notes, right? And then of course, and then we add in harmony in the second one, and then we add in even more harmony in the third one. This is the culmination of it all, right? And so that's what we do with all of these. You know, we've got multiple tiers here. We've got, how many tiers do we have? 3 tiers for level 25, 3 tiers for level 20, 4 tiers, I think, for level 26. Nope, 3 tiers for level 26. Got 4. Yeah. So that's the game, right? And then I don't know if you saw that, but at the end there, we've, you know, repertoire gets unlocked every tier. And so you can go and apply those skills that you've learned in songs that actually get unlocked. Let's find one that's at level 15 here. Let's check out this one. I've never played this before. Okay. So let's see what this is like.
Man.
I've heard this song before.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Right. And then the space bar brings you right back to the beginning and it starts all over. We want to keep it as low touch as possible. So, and we'll have multiple versions of this. This is the easiest version of it. Later down the road in Unit 2, we're going to unlock a more complicated version of it. When we add more rhythms, you know, we'll add more rhythms, like an eighth note, right? That's a little bit faster, right? A little bit faster. And so we'll add in more rhythms. And so we'll make a harder, more complicated version of that. What'd you say?
Wow, I was saying that's just a light flex right there.
A light flex. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like, I play these things and I'm like, it's so interesting to me that I'm like throw a musical theater piece in front of me and I can just play that verbatim. But you put something like this, that's like a classical piece in front of me. And I'm like, that's actually pretty difficult for me to play for some reason. It has more structure to it. It's a different type. The phrases and the motifs and the I know musical theater so well that I can replicate it, but I don't know classical music that well. And so this is another beautiful thing for me that like I go in here all the time and I'm learning these songs and I'm playing them. It's actually really fun for me because it's a whole new genre and I'm learning how to sight read in a whole new genre. So, yeah, that's the game.
Wow, like I could literally see, you know, young nephews, nieces, and cousins utilize this for playing, and it's literally like they're also learning how to play the piano,
Yeah, yeah.
how
Actually
to read
learning how to
notes.
play the piano. Because like that's the thing about Guitar Hero, right? Guitar Hero
Yeah.
teaches you how to play just a fake little guitar really,
Mm-hmm.
really well. We're teaching you how to play the piano really, really well. We're teaching you how to read Western music notation,
Yeah.
and we've made it a game. You know, nobody's done that yet. You know, people are still very much entrenched in the traditional ways of teaching music. We're reinventing it by putting sight reading first and making it a game.
Man, that looks so intriguing. Oh man, that how do you balance the educational and entertainment aspects of MuseFlow?
The education needs to come first, and the entertainment is an added bonus on top of it. We've got to be
Mm,
teaching you actual skills that you can apply to actual songs. That's what's really necessary here. Otherwise, we're just a game, right?
mm.
We want to be an educational game. And so, yeah, number one, education. Number two, gamified.
What would you say, since you mentioned that you already have quite a bit of students, what has been the feedback that you've received so far from gamer based students and non gamer based students?
It's all pretty much the same, man. Like they all kind of get it, you know? They understand that
Mm,
we're gamifying music education. Maybe just some other people are a little bit more in touch with the dopamine hits that they're actually getting, you know?
okay.
They're recognizing that the dopamine hits are connected with these like aha moments that are happening in their minds, the gamers at least. They're recognizing, "Oh my gosh, I'm actually getting it. I'm actually getting it. Holy cow." And then they pass a level and then the dopamine hit happens. They're able to connect those dots a little bit more, you know? But otherwise, we've been getting great feedback, man, and we're really lucky to be able to be in contact with all of our early adopters. I know all of them. I've talked with all of them. And they range from 8-year-olds using it with their music teacher to
Yeah.
almost retirees who will have a really, really hard job. And usually they come home and just veg out, but instead they're actually supplementing that with our game. Instead of vegging out, they're actually learning something in a fun way. We're really lucky to be able to find this like wide amount of people that this game is applicable to, you know, in their lives. It's kind of cool. You know, people talk about the flow state all the time. They talk about getting in that groove and losing track of time.
Hmm.
Um, and then we also get feedback of like when we learn sight reading first,
Hmm.
we're increasing the bottom threshold of what you can play. There's kind of two thresholds in music performance. Okay. The first threshold is what can you play at first sight,
Hmm.
just without any practice. And then the top one is what can you play with an indefinite amount of practice? That's the top one. And now we
Mm.
mostly not an infinite amount of practice, but there's always going to be an end, you know. But an indefinite, we're not going to put a time on that. It's just how much. What's the most complicated piece that you can play? That is what we mostly focus on in traditional music education. What we're focusing on is that bottom threshold because what we've
Mm.
realized is that when that threshold widens, when those thresholds widen, and the top one gets too far away from the bottom one, you're really focusing on just practicing that one specific song until you can play it perfectly. And that's very boring. Joy of music decreases, you know? Um, is that
Yeah, that's a comment.
I think that's my dad.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll learn music while having fun. What a great idea. Dad, you know, what are you doing? You're pretending not to be my dad out here. That's my dad, okay? He's just like trying to drum up conversation. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. Yes, that is what we're saying.
That's pretty intriguing because that's literally making me think like if you have such a wide base from young literal elementary school students to near retirees, and they're understanding the concept. That definitely makes me want to think, though. What would you say so far has been your most rewarding part of seeing students using MuseFlow?
I got a chance to. So one of our co-founders, Stephen Staley, he has never touched a piano in his life, and he just started playing when all the rest of us, we're all musically inclined. Okay,
Okay.
got a bassist, got a classically trained pianist, got a jazz and musical theater pianist, and we got a music composer and a music teacher. Okay, we're all musically inclined except for Staley, and he started learning how to play piano with MuseFlow a year ago. The dude's on level 18 right now. Okay.
Wow.
Last time I checked in, we got a chance to watch him. This was the coolest thing in the world. We got a chance to watch him play, complete a level, and then immediately go start learning a song. And one he had never seen before. Okay. He had never played this one before. He's just like,
Hmm.
yeah, let's go learn the song. Okay, cool. What's going on here? All right, let's play it. Cool. And he just starts going. All right. And he is messing up so hard. He is doing terribly, so poorly, but he's still having so much fun. He's keeping up with
Right.
that cursor that's going across the screen. He's continuing to play. He's smiling. He's engaged. And by the end of that song, when the cursor stops, you're looking at the accuracy, and the guy got 40% accuracy. But he still had
Wow.
so much fun. He still had so much fun. And then he's like, I want to try that again. Tries it again. Right at this point, all our jaws are like on the floor because there's two things that we recognize here.
Hmm.
One, most students nowadays, they get so clammed up when they make one mistake.
Yeah.
I just watched somebody fail horribly on this song, yet still was so engaged. He didn't care about the failures. He didn't care about those red notes. They were just rolling off of his shoulder. So right off the bat, we're destigmatizing, and we knew this. We knew this
Mm.
making. We knew this making MuseFlow that we were like destigmatizing failure because it's so much a part of the education process. You've got to mess up to learn, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have kids that are clamming up at failure, they're not learning anything. They're so tight and they're not open to the possibilities of actually progressing and learning, right? And so watching Staley actually play that song and get only 40% correct, and he was still having a great time, the idea of destigmatizing failure is actually happening. We're actually doing that. That blew my mind right then and there. Then he tried it again, and he got 80% accuracy at that point. If he had just come into that song raw
Hmm.
without even doing the sight reading beforehand and passing that level, he would have had to play that song over and over and over and over to get to 80% accuracy. But because he had learned the skills that were necessary to play that song before he actually learned a song that
Hmm.
used those skills, he was able to use those skills inside of that song and replicate it. And so 80% happened the second time he played it. And then
Wow.
90, and then 100%. Guy played it 4 times and he got 100% accuracy.
Sheesh. That is pretty
Oh,
intriguing
Staley,
right
that's Staley. He
there.
just popping up on screen. He just beat level 18. Yeah, but congrats, buddy. That's awesome.
Like that is amazing, because it's, as you mentioned it, when people are confronted with failure, and your concept of trying to maintain the flow is, if it's too hard, you're not going to want to continue doing it. If
Yeah.
it's too easy, same concept. So by literally having it right in the middle, it enables you to stay locked in, try again, and then you get better and not frustrated. So that's an amazing concept to literally create for music, for entertainment. And I applaud you. That's like so amazing. And that's actually pretty cool that you have one of the core founders actually learn how to get better at playing music using the creation that you guys literally came up with. Like, that's
Isn't that
probably
cool?
the
Isn't
best
that like
feedback you
so
could get.
cool? Yeah,
Like,
man.
what?
Yeah, dude.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
hired.
honestly, we're so lucky to have him on the team because he's able to kind of test those very early feels. Like
Mm.
I think I don't know, I might be making this up, but like I remember very specifically that well, we didn't have this little animation around the green notes that were happening. There's a little animation that happens, a little pop that
Yeah,
happens
yeah,
right
yeah.
now. We didn't have that to start. And I think it was Staley that mentioned, it's like when I play a note, I'm not feeling the gratification of getting it correctly. It's just kind of meshed
Mm.
in with all of the red and yellow notes. It's not feeling like it's anything special. So I think we need to make something and have a little visual feel of it, making feel it needs to feel and look a little bit more surprising and exciting. And so I think it was him, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's here. Maybe he can tell me I'm wrong, but it just feels like it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know if I would have really recognized it if I wasn't a beginner, because I would have just been
Mm.
playing and playing and playing, and like I would have been getting the notes correct at that point, because it's we were making just the early levels on this at this time, you know. Um, so it was one of those things that I couldn't quality assure QA myself. It was something that Staley had to QA, you know.
Yeah, a beginner that would have to provide that kind of a feedback. Now,
Right.
since you are in the realm of professional music, how do you stay inspired as a professional musician, as well as traversing into the fine line as an app developer?
Yeah, it's a weird combo, man. But I'm having a great time. I don't know if there's a lot of skills that translate besides creative problem solving. That would be
Mm.
one of the biggest things that I feel I can bring to a team that is building an app. Thinking outside the box, also, the love and joy of all of this. I'm a very optimistic person, and I feel like I bring that to the team too. But and leadership and always making sure we're moving forward. All of those things are not really a part of me being a pianist myself.
Hmm.
But it's just me being who I am. And so I do love being able to express those things inside of a company that I love, that I'm building with my friends, you know? Um, and when it comes to actually playing piano and staying inspired, it's that relationship with the audience that gets me. It's
Mm.
it's being able to play a song that somebody requested in a way that makes me emotional. And then I look
Mm.
up and I look at them and they're emotional too. And it's that relationship that really gets me, you know? Um, or pumping up a room of 200 people, you know? Getting so pumped and playing Queen, We Are the Champions, having
Yeah.
everybody sing along to that, their heart just screaming their asses off. Yeah, man. Like, that's such a joy for me. That's my flow state. When people are watching me and expecting me for them like to entertain them, I'm on the spot. And I got to play these songs well so that they're engaged and they're with me and I'm with them. So we've got to have this reciprocal relationship that's happening here. And I can't do that if I'm not like super present and super focused. That's how I stay
Mm.
engaged. That's what's really inspiring me. That always has been that audience performer relationship.
What would you say, based off of like how many amazing features that are currently available, what would you say is your current personal favorite?
I think it's the repertoire library right now. The
Mm.
fact that you can now apply the skills that you're learning in the sight reading. Before we were just a sight reading trainer.
Okay.
Now, because like all you're doing is just learning these new skills in the sight reading, and then there's nowhere for you to apply it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can actually apply it to actual songs. That's the game changer. The next step will be, of course, an exercise library where you can dive deeper into concepts that, maybe we would recommend to you because we saw in the patterns of how you're playing, you might need a little bit more exercise on this one specific skill. Great. We'll unlock a little exercise for you to go practice, right? Um, and then, of course, a theory library where there's going to be like other deeper concepts, lectures, some exercises where you can actually learn the theory behind why music is written that way or is played that way, right? Um, those are going to be the main two other features that we're building. Also, we're building out these interactive tutorials that are videos, but they're also interactive. That's really, really fun. We've got level 0 already for that, and we're building out the rest of them. So that's really, really cool. But I have to say the repertoire library for sure. It's the ability to apply the concepts that you're actually learning that makes us an actual full-blown app now, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'll give you the opportunity to be a practical in your app developer phase. So for those that are actually interested in using this, where can they go? How much does it cost? What tips would you provide to them if they're looking at, I want to use this ASAP? What technology or equipment? What is the baseline to get started in using this and trying to get to level 18?
So right now you need a laptop and Chrome browser or Edge browser and
Okay.
a MIDI compatible keyboard. That's just a keyboard that you can plug into your laptop. Okay.
Okay.
We've got suggestions for that on our website at museflow.ai. You can look us up there, and then you can start your free trial right then and there. Subscriptions start at $24 per month, but I would love to give you guys a discount code if you're cool with that. Like, I'd love to
That would
give your
be
audience
pretty
a
cool.
discount code. It would be a 50% discount code for life. Okay. We'll probably have to stop acquiring new users that are using this discount code when we get to a certain threshold. But right
Right.
now, if you want to start using it, we'd love to give you a 50% discount on your months moving forward. That'll get it down to what, 1260 something a month or
Something
1250 a
like
month,
that.
something like that.
12.49.
Yeah, 1249 a month. Thank you so much. That's math, right? Um,
Hey, you're a
so
musician. You're a
I,
musician.
dude, I
It's
don't
okay.
freaking know math. Don't ask me. Um, okay, cool. Great. I'll make that discount code right now. Then why don't you put that in like the show notes and the descriptions
That
for.
would be amazing.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
How about we make it gamer 50?
Yee.
GAMER 50. That work for you?
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Okay, great. I'll make that discount code right now. So if anybody wants to use it, just wait like 15, 20 minutes for you to actually sign up and, actually get into it. But that'll be the discount code for you. And yeah, it'll get you half off for life. So get on in and try it out and let me know what you think. I am here for the chats. I am here to field emails, Instagram, DMs, like whatever you guys want. Like, I want to hear your feedback. I would love to hear your feedback. Tell me all the bad stuff, all the good stuff. We're here to adapt to what you want. We're here to make what you want. We've got the base core idea for this app, but what's the point if it's not for you,
Mm.
and something that you would like to use? So any and all feedback, extremely, extremely valuable. So you can email me at patrick.boylan@museflow.ai. Don't put that in the show notes because that'll get all spammed.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, please, like, I would love to hear your thoughts.
And then another question just popped into my head is, what would you suggest is a average approximate amount of time for somebody that is actually interested and serious about learning? Would 60 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 200 minutes a day? Like, what would you say would be a approximate, especially if they're a beginner completely, they don't even know how to read notes at all? What would you say that it would be a safe amount of minutes to dedicate on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
Well, we can teach you how to read music in 10 minutes.
Mm.
Okay. And that's through an interactive tutorial that we've got in the app. All right. You can start with that. That'll teach you how Western notation is written, what
Okay.
the piano actually is, right? And how it's made and how it's blocked out and chunked out in octaves. You'll learn all of that in level 0, right? And then you'll start on your first note, level 1. It's hard to approximate how much time you should be
Mm-hmm.
practicing because really it's just about how much do you want to practice. Our
Mm.
goal is to get you to a place where you want to practice more, because learning your instrument, technically learning how to play your instrument, is a very boring thing.
Yeah.
And we want to make that more interesting by giving you a game that gets you into flow state, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. And if we succeed, you'll want to play more. Again, like I already said it, we have people that use this app for 30 minutes a day after they're done with their work that is really, really
Right.
difficult. And they're done, they're burnt out, and they want to get present, right? They want to get into flow state, they want to drop in. We have kids that use this 10, 15 minutes a day with their teachers. So it really does change. Like, it varies significantly between use case. It's more just how much do you want to play? And then just do it. We want to make it as easy as possible for you. So that's why we built this, you know. It's hard to, we also don't have any like quantitative evidence on like how much you should be practicing or how long this is going to take. We have 40 people that use this. We don't have like massive amounts of data yet on like what's the optimal experience of MuseFlow. No, we don't.
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet. Not yet. Not yet. We just know that there's a ton of use cases and we're here for the feedback. Like that's what we've got right now,
Oh no, that's actually phenomenal because I definitely want to bring you back for when you have Unit 2 coming along. I
Cool.
have a couple of individuals I definitely want to take a look at this. I know a couple of pianists and some individuals that are on the fence about what instrument that they would like, and their number one complaint is always that it's difficult, A, to read Western notes, and
Mm-hmm.
B, that there's such a steep learning curve that they would
Mm-hmm.
rather go for an instrument that doesn't have so many keys and so many combinations and has to use two hands. And they're like, oh, well, I would rather just start on something, a little bit simpler instead of something more complicated. And so I definitely would be pushing them to take a look at this episode as well as looking at this amazing application that is literally lowering the barrier of entry to learning how to play the piano.
Yep, that's the goal. We want to democratize music education and make it universally accessible for anybody that's interested. We want to lower that barrier to entry very much so. And so that with that being said, we're building the app right now. We're building an app that you can download onto your tablet. So, and we're making an audio recognition algorithm. It's great. We've built it already. We just need to test it a little bit more so
Right.
that when we have the app and the audio recognition, all you need to do is just put your tablet on your acoustic piano, like an upright piano or a grand or whatever you have, or your
Right.
keyboard, really, and don't even plug it into anything. It'll just be able to hear you, you know? So
Wow.
all of that is going to increase the accessibility for MuseFlow. But yeah, I mean, right now we do have those technical barriers to entry. But if you have it, or if you're willing to spend a little bit of money on it, we've got recommendations for keyboards. And yeah, all you need to do is just a laptop and Chrome or Edge, and you'll be good to go.
Man, oh my goodness, Patrick, this is amazing. This has been an amazing episode. Guys, if you really liked it, make sure to check out museflow.ai. Thank you so much for coming to Gamers Guide to Productivity and providing this amazing concept. I love music and I love the fact that this is literally gamifying learning how to play the piano and literally lowering the barrier of entry. I'm going to put that code once it's up and live in the show notes. Thank you so much, Patrick, for providing all of this amazing insight, your journey, how the gamification of music is going to be revolutionized. Hopefully, yeah, it started with 40, but we never know. So
Yeah.
whether you're a gamer, a musician, or you just love learning, you are going to love this concept. So this story is going to make sure that you essentially have fun with learning more about music. Other than that, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it to somebody that you think would really, really appreciate that. And if you're curious about MuseFlow, make sure to check it out, see how gaming can unlock your musical potential, and then let us know down in the comments below what your favorite piece was to play. Other than that, it's been a phenomenal episode. Thank you